Hello, this is Keith, the IT teaching guy, and today I went over in the CompTIA A Plus study guide over physical connections. The next few sections are going to be about physical connections, wireless, and power supplies. And for the physical connections, the I/O ports on a motherboard or expansion card. And so they wanted to go over the labels, the different colors that they have, for color coding to identify these ports. And so we'll go into Google Chrome to take a look at that. And as we can see here, there are many different connections. Starting with the left on the top, you have two USB connections, a PS2 port for keyboard or mouse, and you can kind of see that one is colored green and purple, like half of each. So it's letting you know that it's either for a keyboard or a mouse. Its choice is up to you. Because of a lot of those legacy connectors, those PS2 connectors are legacy and they've been replaced with USB for keyboard and mouse. But it has a PS2 port on there just in case you have a legacy device. Then you have your VGA and DVI. So we'll kind of go over that in a second. So as I said, the PS2 is green or purple, and this one is green or purple just to let you know that you can use your mouse or your keyboard, because Microsoft created a standard identifying these connections. And so green one normally would be a round 6-pin mini DIN connector, PS2 connector, and that would be for your mouse. And then the purple one, round 6-pin mini DIN PS2 for your keyboard connection. The next area we have the VGA on top is the blue 15-pin D connector, and that's for VGA, and that would be colored blue. And then we have the DVI, your digital video out, and DVI is usually on a higher end motherboard, also with your HDMI connection. So you have your digital video and your high definition media connectors on higher end motherboards for those connections, if you have those. They also talk about the optical SPDIF Sony Philips connection, and then certain display ports as well. So we have two more USB ports in the yellow there. We have a 1394A Firewire connection there. In the Firewire, you can either call it Firewire, a I-Link, or a I.Triple-E connection. So, and then you see in the bottom you have an eSATA connection for external hard drive. You have an external SATA drive. I'm sure that would be on a higher end motherboard as well. Not common to just any standard motherboard. Then we can look at the RJ45 connection for your NIC card for your local area network, or for your wireless local area network. And once you power that in, you have those little two dots there by your RJ45, and you'll have a green one to show you have a connection, and you'll have an amber yellowish connection to show that you are there, it's functioning. And see, we have two USB 3.0 connections, and we'll talk about the USB in a minute, as well as RJ45 and RJ11 and a few others. So we look at the audio jacks, starting with the top left. The orange is for your subwoofer. The black is for your rear left-right speaker for your surround sound. And the that would be gray is the middle left-right surround in output. Then you go to the top right, which the light blue is line level audio input. And then you go down to your lime green, they call it, is the front, left, right speaker, or for headphones. And then you can look at the pink, and then the pink is for the microphone, as you see there. So we'll move on to the next section. Also, they wanted to label that the most common integrated I/Os include sound, video, USB, serial parallel connections, I.E.E. 1394, Firewire, network interface cards or NICs, and modems and PS2 ports. Like I said, high-end motherboards have the Sony Philips connection, Toslink optical port, and this provides multi-channel digital output. Also, they wanted to mention that integrated video on older motherboards may need to be turned off in the BIOS when installed AGP card or PCI Express card. But on newer motherboards, they usually just detect the Express card or the AGP card, and it'll automatically shut off your other connection. Well, now we want to talk a little bit about USB ports. Moving on. Okay. And it takes a second to load here. That was for the Toslink, the Sony Philips connection. We won't need to look at those. Let's check out the USB. So here they mentioned 4 USB connections, and there is USB-A, which is the most common. That's on the left. They had USB-B, which is all the way on the right, for like printers and a few other connections like a scanner. And a lot of those are using USB nowadays as well. Then we go to Mini-B, and then Micro-B, and some also call it alternate Mini-B. So for like smartphones and other things, as well as possibly a Mini-B connection as well for those devices. Mini-B is more common now for cameras, video cameras, or camcorders as well. So then the last couple things are Firewire, RJ45, and serial and parallel ports. The Firewire, also known as I-Link or I.E.E., it has 4 positions, 2 plug or 2 jack, you see there. In the 6th position or a 9 position, and the 6th and the 9th position either come in powered or unpowered, depending if you need power for your connection as well. So it goes through that. That's for faster connections, camcorders, and other connections like that. Also talking about the RJ11 or the RJ45, you can see here in this picture is for either dial-up modem in the RJ11, and the RJ45 is for your Ethernet network cable. In the RJ11 they also call it as a POTS, P-O-T-S, so you can check out that a little bit more if you want to check out those connections. And the legacy ports, our serial and parallel ports, have become more of a legacy port. either you have your DE9, that little blue port there for your serial, or your parallel port, which would be a DB25 pin port there. I also wanted to mention they mentioned about USB connections, as 4 different standards for speed as well. And they have 1.0 standard USB, 1.1, 2.0, and also 3.0. And the 1.0 standard was also called low speed, and that was at 1.5 megabits per second. The 1.1 version was also called full speed at 12 megabits per second, and then the 2.0 high speed went at 48 megabits per second. 3.0 was recently released called super speed, and that goes at 5 gigabits per second. And so you can see a little bit of overview on that. So that is the end of I/O connections.